powers on Earth too hidden to be seen, and conspiracies too vast to comprehend. For years, the world has seen fact distorted, reality manipulated, and the truth concealed. Join the Pierre Sabak podcast to uncover the real meanings behind ancient aliens and their symbolism.
Hi, this is Pierre Sabak, unlocking the keys to the mysteries. Now in my previous video we talked about the Philosopher's Stone, and I showed you actually what the Philosopher's Stone is, which is amber, and amber can turn metal into gold. Now I wanted to have a look at the Philosopher's Stone, and in particular I wanted to have a look at the occult symbolism. So I'm going to spend a bit longer on this video and actually go into some of the real esoteric material on the Philosopher's Stone. Now in occult symbolism, the Philosopher's Stone can really be understood to be the elixir of life, and in symbolism this is equated with amber. It's a substance identified traditionally with the Kerubim angel and the Ophanim wheels, and I'm going to really try and substantiate that proposition within this video. Now amber appears within ecclesiastical iconography, and in particular we can see that the Kerubim angels, which are these proto-human angels, in symbolism they are typically adorned in orange garments. Now this goes back to the symbolism of amber, and again that there is this connotation of this fiery orange, and the fieriness is this reference or esoteric reference to the Seraphim. Serapha, fire. The Seraphim are the non-human angels. As I've mentioned in previous videos before, the angelic host are identified with two groups of angels, human and non-human angels. The non-human angels are the Seraphim, and then the Kerubim are the human or proto-human angels, and this is basically at the basis of the occult tradition. Now, to elucidate, when we look at the etymology of amber, we can see that in terms of the Arabic at least, the etymology keruba, amber, it's a phonetic pun on the Hebrew word kerub, a cherub, and this is why the Kerubim typically are represented with amber. So the relationship or the phonetic similarity between keruba, amber, and kerub, a cherub. Now, in Arabic, kerub, a cherub, is an etymology which is closely grouped with karib, which is a landing vessel. Now this is essentially the scaphological tradition. The scaphological tradition is the study of angelic ships or boats within the occult and religious tradition. Now at another level we can say that amber, or the Philosopher's Stone, it's really closely concordant with enlightenment, and this is because the Kerubim tradition, which can be understood to be the Humanist tradition, is identified with occult knowledge, and this knowledge goes back into the idea of enlightenment. And now this knowledge is accredited with the materialization of a human angel, the Kerubim, and in particular the angels are identified with these circular carriers, which can be understood to be shields or wheels. So as I said before, there is this correspondence between kerub, a cherub, and in Arabic karib, which is a landing craft. So the angels appear typically with boat iconography, which is this scaphological tradition. Now in a spiritual sense, enlightenment at one level refers to the telepathic communication between angels and mankind, and it's really a metaphor of cognitive transformation, and so therefore we can say that it's associated with illumination. And again, this is a tradition of the Illuminati, this knowledge which is equated with fire, which is accorded with the angels, this divine inspiration, which at many levels is simultaneous not only to the appearance of the angels, but also to their carriers, which are the Ophanim wheels. Now the encounter with the Ophanim wheels, or the angels, are often considered to be transformative, and this is basically concordant with the Philosopher's Stone, because the Philosopher's Stone is also thought to be transformative, and the Philosopher's Stone is this metaphor or symbol which is used to represent the Ophanim wheels. And I'm going to look at this. So first of all, we're going to look at the Philosopher's Stone, which I argued can be symbolized, or is certainly symbolized by the priesthood, as amber. Now amber goes into the idea of the shining wheels. The shining wheels are the Ophanim wheels, which are these angelic carriers. So when we look at the etymology of cherub, which is a type of cherub, we can see that the cherub is related to carib, which is a small vessel or a landing craft. Karuba, which is amber, as we mentioned before, it's a preservative of organic matter, so this knowledge is equated with the extension of human life, and significantly Karuba amber is etymologically consistent with karaba, which is electricity. Now electricity is used to symbolize light, but again, as I mentioned before, this tradition of the angelic host is partitioned. So where we're seeing the signifiers for the angels with the humanist tradition relating to amber, we also find similar signifiers or symbols to do with the seraphic host, which are the seraphim. So for example, if we looked at the etymologies for the seraphic host, we could see that there's a correspondence between Aphor grey, where we would get the Arabic word Aphor, a viper, and Aphor grey is closely concordant with Ophan, a wheel. Now Aphor grey is also equated with Ophret, which is lead, and then Ophir, which is gold or light. And again, so we have this wordplay on the Ophanim wheels, which is related to Ophret lead and Ophir light, and this is concordant with the Philosopher's Stone, this idea that lead can be transformed into gold. Now when we understand the symbolism behind this, this is a symbol of the Ophanim wheels, because the Ophanim wheels is an angelic carrier. In today's parlance, this would be a flying saucer. It's a spinning wheel which is lead-like in colour, but can be lit up and it can shine. And so this is one of the primary symbols behind the Ophanim wheels, which are the Philosopher's Stone. As I mentioned, the Philosopher's Stone, therefore, in its symbolism, is really compartmentalized between two distinct traditions pertaining to the angelic host. Now, in order to deconstruct, we can say that the Ophanim wheels, that in many respects, at a covert level, they are the original source of the Philosopher's Stone, and they are an object which are constructed from base metal. Now, lustrous in appearance, we can say that the Ophanim wheel, when it's activated, it shines gold or amber, and at an allegorical level, this is lead into gold. So it's this private discourse which is really arguing, or is really symbolizing this idea that the Ophanim wheels transform from lead into gold, but they are also the source of knowledge. So the Philosopher's Stone is also a symbol of knowledge, which is equated to initiatory knowledge. Now, obviously within the ancient world, the Ophanim wheels, as in today, would be considered to be a strange phenomenon, and so the igniting of the alloy wheels into orange light is likened to the refinement of the body, which can be symbolized in Gnostic symbolism as lead, and then the gnosis or knowledge or spirit, which is equated with light or gold. In many respects, this is the symbolism behind alchemy at this Gnostic level. Now, in a true sense, we can argue that the Philosopher's Stone is the ultimate control over physical matter, and this is synchronized with the realm of spirit. It is, in many respects, the manipulation of the waveform, and this goes back to the knowledge regarding holographic cultures. Now, in my previous videos, I've talked about what a holographic culture is, but this is essentially relating to the angel or alien. The two terminologies are synonyms, but they have deconstructed the physical mechanics of reality. They have deconstructed time and space. Now, the manipulation of the waveform within symbolism, or particularly within occult symbolism, goes back to the Pythagoras monochord. Now the Pythagoras monochord is said to intersect all realities, so it was used to symbolize this idea that reality is made up of numerous notes which are different dimensions, and so the slowest vibration on the Pythagoras monochord is the physical world, whereas the quickest vibration is the spirit world, but they are all one and the same, and they intersect all realities. And the Pythagorean monochord is at the basis of modern quantum physics. In particular, the idea regarding string theory traces its inception back to the Pythagorean monochord. Now this is secret knowledge regarding the angels, and it really is the understanding. We can say that this really is the deconstruction of the workings of reality. So the monochord at many levels, it lies behind the fabric of existence. It's the, if you like, we can say that the monochord is the entry point of or is the basis of multiple realities. And this is important. This is because in symbolism, music therefore takes on the connotation of the aeon. It takes on the connotation of the spirit, the divine logos. The divine logos is able to traverse multiple realities, in which it is possible to speak both to the spirit realm but also to the angelic realm, which are considered to be this holographic culture. So in many respects, in English we would say that the universe, uni meaning one and verse, is the monochord, and the monochord is constructed from many different dimensions which can be understood to be a vibrating string, and these different dimensions can be understood to be musical notes. So in summary, we can say that the Philosopher's Stone, at one level we can say that it's the Ophanim wheels, and it can be epitomized as amber. We can say also that it's equated with knowledge, the knowledge of eternal life, both at a physical and also at a spiritual level, and it's also equated with electromagnetic phenomenon, in particular to the kerubim and their materialization, in particular their materialization in conjunction to their Ophanim wheels. Now, at another level, we can say that the alchemical process is really the bridging of the mind between the human mind and the world of angels, and this is done telepathically. So it's this bridge between angels and humanity. Now, obviously, when we look at the Ophanim wheels and we look at the symbolism of amber, is equated with the kerubim, and it's equated with this humanist tradition, in particular this knowledge which is acquired from human angels. Now I'm going to read you a passage from Ezekiel, because obviously I want the audience to take into context or into consideration the Ophanim wheels, in particular the symbolism of amber. So in the book of in the book of Ezekiel chapter 1, we find the following passage. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north. Now the whirlwind is a symbol of the Ru'akh Elohim, the high spirits. Again, the etymology of spiritus in Latin means the breath. So the spirit has this connotation of the wind. It can be symbolized as a voice, or the logos, or even inspiration, this idea that the spirit comes upon a person and inspires an individual. So the whirlwind is used to represent the Ru'akh Elohim. At another level, it's spinning around in a circular motion, which is used to connote this Ophanim wheel. So again, we're using highly elliptical language in order to conceal the symbolism of the Ophanim wheel. So and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came from out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the mist thereof of the colour of amber, out of the mist of fire, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creature with his 4 faces. Now later in this passage, this living creature is represented as a cherubim. So again, the signifier of amber, which in this passage is tashish, but is used as a cryptic signifier of a ship, because it's polymorphic in the Old Semitic. So the word amber is used to denote a ship in the Old Semitic. But when we transfer this into Arabic, which is known as clayleptical symbol, Karuba, which is amber, is related to Karib, which is a small vessel. So again, the symbolism is playing out within the Hebrew and the Aramaic, and also within the Arabic. So if we look at the passage, we can say a number of things. We can say that the Ophanim wheels, that they emanate light, and that the wheels are radiant. At another level, they elicit electromagnetic phenomenon, and the symbolism of the Ophanim wheel can really be understood to be represented as amber, which in the occult tradition is the Philosopher's Stone. Now, again, this is going back to a sacred and a concealed tradition, and within biblical discourse, amber is grouped energetically with the flying wheels, which at one level can be understood to be a metallic shining lodestone that is classified with the impartation of divine wisdom. Now, according to classical sources such as Homer, Hesiod and Herodotus, amber is also known by the name pale gold, and again that this is another cryptic signifier of the Philosopher's Stone, which can turn metal into gold. It's a substance which also seems to have been ingested, or it is being treated in a way so that it can be ingested, and therefore amber, or the Philosopher's Stone, is equated with the elixir of life. So that's basically, at one level, we can see how the symbolism is very sophisticated and interrelated with amber. And I really want to now go into some of the hidden traditions and the hidden meanings behind some of the etymologies appertaining to amber. Now, in Greek, we find that electron is the Greek word for amber, and again it's a substance which is related to electrikos, which means electricity. So we can see therefore that there is this shared etymology between amber and electricity, and this is derived from the fact that friction causes amber to become charged with an electrical current. So the electrical current in symbolism can be understood to be the source of the power of the Philosopher's Stone. And at another level, this electrical current is used as a covert symbol of the Ophanim wheels. In particular, it's used to represent the cherubic tradition, or the humanist tradition, and the impartation of knowledge, which is equated with the humanist tradition. Now, when we want to look at the etymologies of amber, we're finding the same etymologies are playing out in the various different languages. So, for example, we've got electron amber in the Greek is related to electrikos, which is electricity. Again, in the Latin, electrum amber is equated with electricus, electricity. When we go into the Arabic, it's polyglottal, the symbolism, so the wordplay is identical. We find karuba amber is related to karaba, which is electricity. So what's quite interesting is that when we go into the Greek etymology of amber, it's unlisted, but it's certainly unlisted within the Oxford English Dictionary. But when we go into Greek mythology, we can actually find the original root of the word electron, amber, and it's shown to be related to the mythology of Electra, who was one of the 7 daughters attributed to the Pleiades, the star constellation governed by the Kerubim, who are these proto-human angels. Now, we can say that the cherub is represented in Arabic by the stone karuba amber, and as I mentioned in my first video, the angels within ecclesiastical symbolism are typically adorned or typically wear orange garments, and this is used to represent amber. It's used as a covert signifier of karaba, which is electricity, which would relate to their angelic vessels, karib, which is a type of landing craft. Now, the cherubim angels often appear with the seraphim. Now, this combination between the two, and in particular the tension between the two different traditions of this compartmentalized knowledge, I refer to as the Seraphim-Kerubim Dialectic. It is represented within Freemasonry as the 2 pillars of Freemasonry. Now, typically the seraphim are a fiery species which can change their form. Evidence for this is found within the book of Enoch. Enoch himself talks about how the seraphim can take on a human appearance. So the seraphim have this ability to change from a serpent into a human form. So that's at another level. So again, within the traditions of the Seraphic tradition, the Philosopher's Stone and this idea of transformation is within the Seraphic tradition understood to be this physical transfiguration, which is equated to fire. Now, going back to the idea that amber is electricity, when amber is rubbed together, it causes an electrostatic phenomenon, and it causes this electrostatic charge. And this charge is associated with the cherubim wheels. And as I said before, the cherubim are equated with the seraphim. They often appear together within symbolism. So, amber, therefore, it generates light, and it's quite closely equated with the symbolism of the Ophanim wheels, these angelic carriers. Now, At another level, certainly within the Gnostic traditions, amber is equated with the process of a spiritual awakening, and this is really the conveyance of sacred knowledge, and it's ascribed directly to the manifestation of the Ophanim wheels. In particular, the Ophanim wheels are equated with human and non-human hosts. So within the symbolism, amber in this respect would denote the humanist tradition or the human hosts. Now, in the analogy of the Philosopher's Stone, the Ophanim wheels, they can flicker in and out of existence, and they can traverse the seven heavens or dimensions, which are again used to denote the Pythagorean Monochord, this idea that there are multiple dimensions or multiple existences. Now, according to the symbolism, the seven notes or dimensions are closely grouped astrologically with the star constellation of the Pleiades. Now, the Pleiades is important because the cherubim angels are said within the occult tradition to originate from the seven stars of the Pleiades. Within Judaic symbolism, the seven stars of the Pleiades is represented by the Jewish menorah, which are the seven lights. So the Pleiades are the home of the cherubim, which are this class of being which are equated with amber, and in particular are also equated with the materialization of the Ophanim wheels. Now, when we go back into the etymology of alchemy, it's very significant because when we look at the Arabic word for alchemy, alchimia, which literally is the art of transmuting metals, we see that there's a close correspondence with Chema, which is the Pleiades, and this is because the cherubim tradition and the humanist tradition was equated with the cherubim, and they imparted knowledge to mankind about metals and the transmutation of metals. At another level, the welding together of metal can also be used to denote the welding together of bloodlines, in particular human and non-human bloodlines, which can be understood to be the Seraphim, which are equated with Seraphic, which is fire. Now, in the Old Semitic, Kimar, which is the Pleiades, is from the unused root kumaz, which is to store away, and this is equivalent in the Greek translations to pleroma, that which fills, which is equated with pleres, which is full, which are divarications on the Pleiades. Now again, there is a close correspondence with pleres, full, and pleon, which is a boat or a ship. So again, we're finding these similar signifiers with the symbolism of alchemy and this scaphological tradition, which are equated with these angelic boats or carriers. Now, at another level, we can say that the wheels, that they are represented as bright and majestic, and again, their signification is represented as amber. And amber is used to demarcate the Philosopher's Stone. It's used as a symbol of the Philosopher's Stone, which is a substance that is explicit of electromagnetic fields, and these fields are alternating currents. So at another level, the science of amber is equated with alternating currents, if you like, a close polarity, which is paired with the switching states of the Ophanim wheels, this idea that the Ophanim wheels are outside of time and they can switch in and out of different realities, which in the Pythagorean system is equated with Pythagoras' monochord. Now, there are a number of allegories which are associated with the Philosopher's Stone, because here we're dealing with the transformation of base metals into gold, which is figurative of light. At another level, we're dealing with the metaphor of the wheels and their control over reality. As I've mentioned in previous videos, the Ophanim wheels is used as an idiom in the Old Semitic to refer to a flying saucer. So when I'm talking about the Ophanim wheels and I'm talking about the scaphological tradition, I'm really talking about the ufological tradition, and the representation of the ufological tradition, particularly this knowledge appertaining to occult symbolism, can be understood to be new ufology, and this is what I define as new ufology. This is the occult tradition or the scaphological tradition. So the Ophanim wheels, they have this control over reality, and at many levels they are transcendental, and they are equated with inspiration and mystical conversion, and in particular with a change of state, which is compared to primal matter. And as we said before, this change of state also within the when we pair this with the Seraphic tradition, is equated with the idea that the Seraphim can change their form. This same idea is also found with the jinn, from the Old Semitic word jinn, a serpent. Again, the jinn are said to be able to transform their form. They are said to be the Ru'akh Elohim, the high spirits, but they can manifest as a Elixir, a living god, or a high creature. They are one and the same terminology. So the Philosopher's Stone is equated with this idea of conversion, of the change of states, in particular change of mental states. And again, this would go back into the traditions of the jinn with the Karen. So, and at another level, we've got the symbolism of Opharet lead, which is equated with the transformation into Ophir, which is gold. Now, the symbolism can really be translated into pure energy, and this pure energy, again, is equated with the spirit. The spirit is the breath, which is the vibration, which vibrates into, which once it vibrates, it turns into light, which is the electromagnetic scale, which is then equated with the materialization or the manifestation of the soul from the aeon. The aeon is this vibration, which are these concentric circles, which when we begin to break it down is this interference pattern, which appertains to this holographic culture. So at many different levels, we can say that the alchemical tradition at one level is the perfecting of the body and mind paradigm through angelic communication, and the symbol of amber is used to denote these angelic vessels. But we're dealing here with very sophisticated symbolism. So to add yet another level of complexity, the tuning in of the Ophanim wheels into physical existence connotes the Kerubim angels, and in particular their affiliation to the Seraphim. So this is the Seraphim-Kerubim Dialectic. Now, found throughout the Apocrypha, the Seraphim, they are really understood to be the serpent race. Indeed, in the Latin, the translation would be the Serpentagina, which literally means the serpent race. And the Seraphim are said to be able to shapeshift from a serpent into a man through the manipulation of electromagnetic fields. Now, religiously, this would be the transfiguration of the flesh and the spirit. So, again, if we wanted to take this to the Gnostic level, then this has connotations of how the body, the physical body, can be transformed or can dematerialize, or in particular that the body can transcend death, and this is through the spirit. Now, the Seraphim-Kerubim at another level are these polarized states, which are these electrical fields. So again, we've got the Seraphim-Kerubim Dialectic, which is the manifestation of the Seraphim and the Kerubim. And again, as I've mentioned before, both the Seraphim and the Kerubim, that they are connected materially to the manifestation of the wheels. The wheels are these angelic carriers, which carry the living host, the Elixir, a high creature. And the Ophanim, therefore, is closely concordant with the symbolism of the Philosopher's Stone. So, as I mentioned before, here then we are dealing with a holographic culture. They are the masters of the waveform. They have deconstructed physical and spiritual reality. And we can look at the spirit as being closely concordant with the waveform, where the particle is light, and again would be closely concordant with the symbolism of the soul and the manifestation of the physical body. Now, underpinning all of this is electromagnetic energy. And this is important to understand. Hence, we got the etymologies between, in the Arabic, karuba, which is amber, and karaba, which is electricity, which is going back to the Kerubim tradition. So in summary, therefore, we can say that the exploitation of the Philosopher's Stone, it's really fundamental to the utilization of electromagnetic energy, in particular properties which are integral to a holographic culture. And I want to really emphasize this, and this is really important, but here we're dealing with a holographic culture who have complete utility over the temporal order. They can control time, and this is important because they have control. They have the ability to manipulate the waveform, and the waveform is really the matrix which controls physical matter, in particular the way in which the waveform or physical matter is sequenced or encoded into physical reality. And this is really behind the Pythagorean monochord, which again is closely tied in with the symbolism of the Philosopher's Stone and the Ophanim wheels. So really we're dealing here with layered and complex symbolism. And again, people may be frustrated because a lot of people are conditioned to just to look at symbols as just having one meaning. But when you begin to look at symbolism and you begin to study the science of symbols, they're encyclopedic. So therefore they don't just represent one idea. They are context dependent, and they are layered in meaning, and therefore the meaning is often very sophisticated. So we can say, when we look at the Philosopher's Stone and we look at the symbolism, and in particular how it's context dependent, we see that there are a number of, shall we say, primary signifiers in which the Philosopher's Stone represents, and they can be understood as following. We can say that the Philosopher's Stone at one level represents the transformation of base metal into gold. At another level, this is the dematerialization of the Ophanim wheels, as we said that there was this etymological correspondence between Opharet, lead in Hebrew, and Ophir, which is the old Semitic word for gold. But again, the dematerialization of the Ophanim wheels is really appertaining to this concealed tradition, this concealed meaning, which relates to the hidden levels of reality. These are the dimensions which are concordant with Pythagoras' Monochord. Now, at another level, the Philosopher's Stone is symbolized as the elixir of life, and again is concordant with amber and the etymology of amber, which is related to electricity, both within the Latin, Greek, and also within the Arabic. The amber is the primer materia, which is the first substance. The first substance is the kerubim, or the proto-human, which appertains to the anthropos and the corruption of the anthropos. But in particular, when we're dealing with alchemy, this would be the restoration of the anthropos. And we're seeing that there is this dialectic with the tradition of the Philosopher's Stone between the Seraphim and the Kerubim. So again, we have this tradition which is closely concordant with the Seraphic and Kerubim tradition, but in particular the Kerubim tradition is symbolized with amber. Now, at another level, we can say that the Philosopher's Stone is equated with sound, which is the spirit. In Greek, this is the logos. The primal source is the logos. So from the logos, or the word of God, is the emanation of vibration, which creates light, which is the hologram in which physical reality is materialized as a particle. If you like, this dichotomy between the waveform, which is sound, and then the materialization of that waveform as light, which is manifested as the physical body. Now, within the Gnostic traditions, this obviously has connotations of enlightenment, of inspiration, and really the transmutation of the body and the mind. So this idea that the body can transmute the physical parameters of reality, and it can do this via the spirit. Now, at another level, this would obviously, in symbolism, could be denoted by the seraphim being transformed into a man, or the jinn being transformed into a man. Now, I want to be clear here, because obviously that's at a symbolic level, but within the symbolism, the seraphim certainly were deemed to be a race which were deceptive and which could conceal their appearance, and that they could transform themselves physically into a human being. And again, the idea that the alien can somehow deceive and can change its appearance or shape is also established within the mythological and also the anecdotal traditions regarding aliens and the mythology of this idea that the ruler could transform into a serpent, which is found within ancient mythology. So we're here then dealing with the masters of Waveform. The Philosopher's Stone, or the symbol of amber, is going back to the Humanist or Kerubim tradition, but again it's highlighting this idea of a holographic culture. They have control over electromagnetic reality, which appertains to the hologram, physical reality. So it's very complicated, but in conclusion we can say that the secret of the Philosopher's Stone is the control over holographic reality and the transmutation or the dematerialization of matter, which, when we break it down, is really the basis of wave-particle duality. Now, at many levels, as I said before, this is a paradoxical tradition. Obviously the Ru'akh Elohim, the high spirits, are able to materialize as an Elakeh, a high creature. So they have this control over physical reality. Within Pythagorean and occult symbolism, in particular occult philosophy, this mastery is over the physical matter is equated with the Monochord, the Pythagorean Monochord. Now, the symbolism of the Pythagorean monochord and the knowledge relating to the Pythagorean monochord is really technological of the Ophanim wheels, and the Ophanim wheels are these angelic carriers, or these angelic boats or ships, which are found within the scaphological tradition and which relate to a holographic culture. So the wheels are dimensional, and they equate to the host. They are the carriers of the host, and in particular they're tandem to the Elohim's capacity, if you like, to disentangle reality and to assert themselves within the hologram, and they have this ability therefore to bypass time and space and to control the physical realities of time and space through the waveform, which within the symbolism was represented as the aeon. The aeon is a concentric circle, which is this interference pattern which goes back into the materialization of the spirit into light, the vibration of the spirit into light, which is the soul, which is a manifestation of the particle and physical reality. So within symbolism, therefore, the Ophanim wheel is typically represented as the wheel of fate. The wheel of fate is another signifier of the Ophanim wheels. The Ophanim wheels are outside of time and space, as are the jinn, as are the seraphim, and as are the kerubim. This humanist tradition in which human elements work with non-human elements, and they appear together both within the biblical tradition but also within modern ufology. The idea that military personnel are working with the aliens, again, is going back to this very ancient and very arcane tradition. That's essentially the symbolism of the Philosopher's Stone. It's multi-layered, it branches out into multiple different traditions, but essentially it's going back to the idea of the Ophanim wheels and a holographic culture. Right, I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is Pierre Sabak. I would ask that you please subscribe to my channel, please support this channel. If you are interested in my work, then please buy my book, either Holographic Culture or The Murder of Reality. Buying my products helps to support my research and helps to continue with this line of inquiry. Thank you very much for listening. Let's try and make this a better world. This is Pierre Sabak. Thank you very much.